Jump, motherfucking Buckets! Hey, Buckets, how you doing?
Brother, I am alive, which is all I'm going for right now with some of these crazy results we're seeing. Footy's fucking hard right now, but I'm doing all right.
International break, not as pretty as it once felt to you during the break, hitting every single bet. Then all of a sudden, the team's come back, the players are tired, coaches have lost their fucking mind, and results go absolutely everywhere. But we wouldn't have it any other way. We don't lose, we learn. Today is a very special episode. You're about to see the talent of IPJ because we're going to run through a ridiculous amount of Champions League bets for our loyal listeners. Are you ready to fucking rock and roll?
Let's rock and roll, IPJ.
All right, let's go for it. Let's have a quick look at the tables and what's happening in the Champions League right now. At the top of the table, Liverpool currently top right now. Sporting second, Monaco third. Brest in particular, they've got a very difficult game coming up. They travel to Barcelona, which will be tough. Buckets, your thoughts on the top eight with Borussia Dortmund sitting in there right now?
Yeah, it breaks my damn heart to see Dortmund there and Bayern Munich nowhere near that top eight, unfortunately. But the biggest impressive team to me, well, two have been Brest, but also Sporting. My God, do they just look unstoppable right now.
If we go to the knockout stages, you can see the top half of the knockout stages. Atalanta are leading the way. Leverkusen are in there. Arsenal are in there. Manchester City in there. Some big teams, including Glasgow, Celtic. In the bottom half of the knockout stages, you have your Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. There are some giant clubs in the knockout stages that I would imagine don't want to be their Buckets.
Yeah, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Milan, Atleti, PS. I mean, all of the giants that we usually see finishing in, the top eight of their respective regions. It's disappointing, but it makes for an exciting table, that's for sure.
Well, it does, especially when you look at what's happening in the elimination, because Paris Saint-Germain are sitting in the elimination right now. We've got obviously Leipzig who are struggling right now. Still no victory for them on the board. There's a lot of young teams who are trying to make their way in the Champions League that are struggling right now. But you would expect PSG and maybe one other team to get out of that zone, right?
Yeah, PSG needs to get out of that zone immediately, and I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Girona get out of the zone as well. They've looked like they've kind of come back with a little bit of a fury after break. I want to see them do some serious damage.
All right, quick update on the futures as to what's happening right now. Obviously, so important to see. The games are crazy right now. And obviously, entering into match day 5, they simply don't lie here. Buckets, what's your thoughts on Manchester City being the favourite right now, especially with them not necessarily doing well in the Premier League at this moment in time?
Is this the same Manchester City that's now lost 5 matches in a row across all competitions? I am shocked that they are still plus 370. And I'm kind of shocked that Bayern Munich's plus 900. I feel like we haven't really shown that we should be getting better odds as this moves on, but so be it.
How about PSG plus 3,500 and they're fucking sitting in the elimination group right now. Let's go to who we think is going to win the group stage. Liverpool are obviously top of the group right now, minus 125. Barcelona plus 400. I mean, listen, there's any opportunity for Borussia Dortmund at plus 900 to get the job done here, right?
There is absolutely a chance Dortmund get the job done there, and I'm curious to see what the odds would be on Sporting right now as well. I got to assume that's probably playable, probably around that plus 300 mark, but Liverpool at minus 125. I don't want to say it's a good bet at minus 125 for a future, but Arne Slot's doing something special.
Sporting Lisbon currently sitting at plus 1,000 right now to win the group stage. Who's going to be the top goal scorer? Obviously, Harry Kane, Erling, Haaland, Vinny Jr., Lewandowski all scoring goals. And so is your guy, Victor Gyökeres, who's plus 900 to win the Golden Boot.
Plus 900, considering he was plus 5,000 before match day 1. I don't know how you don't sprinkle that, man. I'm going to take that right now, actually. That's crazy.
Oh, yes, live betting on air. Who's going to finish bottom of the table? Obviously, this is predictable right now. We're starting to get to Slovan Bratislava. You predicted them initially, minus 175 right now. I mean, the one that's interesting me is Leipzig at plus 1,600 to finish bottom. I'd love to see it.
I'd love to see it. And to this point, you're so far behind. Eventually, you got to just focus on domestic play. Maybe not there yet, but we do still have 5 teams without a single point in Champions League. You got to play it just for the fun of plus 1,600, man.
All right, let's get into the fixture list as they're coming up on Tuesday. Obviously, some big games. Looking forward to Slovan Bratislava against Milan. Good luck with that one. Brest in form, currently sitting in the top 8 of the group right now against Barcelona. PSG, remember where they were? They were in the elimination stages against Bayern Munich, baby. Manchester City against Feyenoord, but Sporting Lisbon has caught my attention. They play Arsenal. Anything catch your attention now?
I will be all over the Sporting Arsenal game later in the show when we are looking for some best bets here, IPJ. But besides that, I just want to see Bayern Munich do what they do in the group stage at home. I want to see them win. I need a win for my boys this week.
Over 1.5 for Buckets. It's locked in there. I can already fucking tell it. Wednesday's games, we've got some crackers to look forward to. Aston Villa against Juventus. Bologna against Lille will be a tasty game. I'm obviously looking forward to seeing Celtic play. Borussia Dortmund obviously sitting in that position right now. A difficult one against Dinamo Zagreb. If they get through that, Buckets, they've got a real opportunity. But I think the tastiest game that's sitting out there is Liverpool against Real Madrid. And then we've also got PSV Eindhoven against Shakhtar Donetsk, who means something to someone who's a part of the show.
Absolutely, it does. But we're going to talk about that later, I believe, possibly. But I will agree with you that Liverpool Real Madrid game is going to be the game to watch, but it might not be the game to bet. That is going to be a very, very tricky game to wager on. But we'll get into that later as well.
Well, you know, it wouldn't be an episode of Stoppage Time if we didn't get some wagers from our betting expert. That's right, the blonde bombshell, the betting unicorn, the fucking best wager man on the bloody planet. Forget soccer, forget egg shape chasing. No. We are soccer betting. I would say dreams, maybe. I think you are. You're probably a part of many people's dreams, Buckets. All right, let's get into it. Buckets hits the big time. Of course, we want to see him rebound after a very difficult phase after the international stage. We don't lose. We learn. We're back. The Champions League is back. Buckets, I'm going to test you this time. I'm looking for 3 best bets on Tuesday. I'm looking for 3 best bets on Wednesday. I'm looking for two best bets on Thursday, which is, of course, the Europa League or the Europa Conference League. So, of course, we're going to go for your first best bet on Tuesday. Take it away.
All right, are you ready for this, IPJ?
I'm fucking ready.
Bam. 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 There is no reason to bet on anything besides Sporting right now. I've got 2 wagers for Tuesday on the Sporting matchup, and it is the exact same way I bet Sporting when they played Manchester City. I'm taking Sporting draw no bet at plus 100, and I'm taking Victor Gyökeres anytime goal scorer at plus 125. This Sporting side, you can call it a fluke if you want. You can say, hey, Manchester City's down on their luck. They scored 4 against Manchester City in Champions League. Victor Gyökeres has been the most prolific goal scorer of the season. He is running over the best defenses and the best teams on the planet right now. And Arsenal are basically just being a bunch of babies in Champions League. They're sitting back, they're parking the bus, they're playing for these KG 1-0 victories, these KG 0-0 draws, and Sporting is not going to let that happen. They've played 4 Champions League games. They've scored 9 times and have only conceded twice. Arsenal, they've played 4 Champions League games. They've only conceded once, but they've only scored 3 times. They are going to try to park the bus against Sporting on the road, and Sporting will not let that happen. I think Sporting win this outright, but if you're going to give me that draw no bet safety net at plus 110, and if you're ever going to give me Gyökeres at plus odds, I'm taking it every time this season. I don't care who they play anymore.
Let's just point out, Amarin left as Sporting boss. Obviously, we thought it was going to be a very difficult period. Sporting are sitting top of the table right now. And the game after that he left and went to Manchester United, you would think, okay, yeah, the team's going to be struggling. Team's going to be a little bit lacking of confidence. No, fuck that. 6-0 victory against Almirante. Gyökeres once again on the score sheet. So you're expecting goals in this game from Sporting. Can you give me a scoreline prediction, please?
I'm going for a 2-0 win to Sporting. I don't think Arsenal score here.
2 goals from Sporting. That is absolutely crazy. This one's going to be a very crazy game. I like your bet here. Obviously, Arsenal, they've got to start winning games, and Arsenal are playing some good football once again. Odegaard back in the mix. He's going to be very dangerous. I'm intrigued to see who starts for Arsenal, so be careful where you put your money, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Arsenal spring a surprise in this game, Buckets, and get that 1-0 victory because they don't score many, and they simply don't concede goals either. Shock on the cards here. Buckets, let's get to your second best bet for Tuesday.
I am going to the matchup between Manchester City and Feyenoord, and I'm going to do what is kind of working for everyone right now, and that's fading Manchester City a little bit. Now, I don't think Feyenoord's going to win this outright. Man City currently sitting around minus 500, but I will say that City's defense has just been non-existent for the past month now, and a Feyenoord team who's 21st on the table, who are looking at a Manchester City side and saying, yes, we probably can't beat them, but this is the weakest we'll ever get to play them again. Feyenoord have to go for goals in this matchup. This is not the game where if you were Feyenoord, you were sitting back and you're playing for that 0-0. That's just not how you play against City ever, and it's definitely not how you play against them coming off a 4-0 loss to Hotspurs. I do think City come back with a little bit of a vengeance game here. City probably do score 2, 3, or 4 goals, but both teams to score, Ian, is currently priced at minus 110, and you are never going to see that line against a City this defensively weak right now. I'm going with a score line of maybe 3-1, 4-1 here, but I got to take the Buckets BTTS on this guy.
Buckets, both teams to score in the big one. Manchester City, they might as well start every single game fucking 1-0 down. They were terrible against Tottenham and obviously went on to lose by 4-0. Pretty much an embarrassment. Some stats coming out of that game as well. For the first time ever, Pep Guardiola has lost a game by 4+ goals in a single fucking game in his whole career. For the first time ever in his career, he has lost 5 games in a row. Could it be 6 against Feyenoord? Well, Buckets, maybe there's a surprise on the cards.
Ooh.
I think Manchester City get the job done. Watch out for Erling Haaland. Maybe ladder the bets here. Not on 1 goal. Laddering Erling Haaland for 2 goals. Laddering Erling Haaland for 3 goals in that game. He was fucking poor with his finishing against Tottenham. Even though he was excellent for Norway in the international break, I expect a rebound from Manchester City. I do believe Buckets is right here. We will get both teams to score in this game. Let's go to your third game.
The third game was actually, I did 2 for Sporting. So Victor Gyökeres anytime goal scorer was my third bet for that Tuesday.
Well, fuck it. Victor Gyökeres scoring more than 1 goal is a possibility as well. But at the same time, if you listen to IPJ and he's going against Buckets and he sees a 1-0 win, you might not want to take that bet there, Buckets. Let's go to Wednesday then, your first best bet for Wednesday.
Wednesday, I am going to Celtic. I am going to Celtic Park, and I am betting on Celtic to do what they are always doing when playing at home, and that's score some motherfucking goals. Celtic versus Club Brugge. Club Brugge, I don't know how to say it. I don't care because I'm not betting on them. Celtic over 1.5 team total is currently priced beautifully at -120. Celtic has been scoring for fun so far in Champions League. In their 4 matches, they have scored 9 goals, albeit conceding 9 goals, but we don't care if they're concede here. They probably will, which means they're going to have to score at least 2 if they want to get all 3 points off a Club Brugge side who is not bad by any means, but defensively, they're just not ready right now. This is a team who's 22nd on the Champions League table. Anytime I see Celtic at home, Ian, we've talked about this before, I'm just going to back them. They're one of those teams that when they're playing in front of their home fans, in front of their home crowds, that is a rowdy, tough place to play. And I think Celtic get the job done and score 2, possibly even 3 goals in this fixture.
-105 on the money line for Celtic in this game as well. So listen, I'm going to probably tell you on that bet, but I'm also going to go for Celtic on the money line, which I think is a great deal out there because Celtic are dangerous in European football right now. They're once again put themselves into contention to maybe do some damage. They're a team, obviously, that have a great deal of supporters behind them who can potentially push them through to the next round there. If you look at the table position, obviously so important to see that Celtic need a victory. 7 points from 4 games so far, just the 1 loss, 9 goals scored, 9 goals against. Anything can happen. Buckets, let's go to your second best bet for Wednesday.
Second best bet, you might want to use this as a parlay piece because it's a little bit of juice, but I just cannot ignore this line. I am looking at my beloved Crvena Zvezda Beograd taking on VfB Stuttgart, and I'm taking, again, both teams to score at this one, but it's currently priced at -150. If you want to add over 2.5 goals down to get that closer to even money, I am totally okay with that because we said this last time we cashed on this team. When Red Star Belgrade plays at home, you don't bet them to win ever in Champions League, but no matter what, you bet on them to score at least that 1 goal. They did it in both of their Champions League games so far. They scored 2 against Barcelona and they scored 1 against Benfica. This is a team that when they play at home, they will always get that 1 goal. It might be ugly, it might be bullshit, it might be an own goal. It doesn't matter. The universe just speaks into the universe. Red Star, you need this 1. Then you can lose 4-1 to whoever you want, but I got to take BTTS, Ian, anytime I see these guys at home.
Is that your scoreline prediction, 4-1?
I'm going to go 3-1 Stuttgart.
I wouldn't be surprised because if you look at the Champions League right now, Red Star second bottom of the table, 4 games played, 0 wins, 0 draws, 4 defeats, 4 goals scored. To Buckets' point, they scored in 3 of those games and 16 goals against. They are challenging our team, Slovan Bratislava, for the worst team in Champions League group stage and potentially finishing bottom. I'm actually going to go for a bit of a surprise here. I think they score the first goal here, Buckets. I'm going to say that they score the first goal in this game. Stuttgart come back and win this game. Let's go to your final best bet on Wednesday.
Final best bet is a bet I normally don't do, but I cannot ignore it, and there's a reason I'm doing it. I'm looking at Sturm Graz taking on Girona, and I'm taking Girona on the money line. It is currently priced at +105. Normally, I would go the 1.5 team total. That's currently -120, but frankly, I don't think this game will see a lot of goals. We've got 2 teams that are absolutely desperate. Sturm Graz is 33 on the table, 0 wins, 0 draws, 4 losses, only 1 goal scored. This is the team that is currently the top of the Austrian Bundesliga, but they are falling apart in the big lights, in the big European lights here. They are getting decimated right now. Meanwhile, Girona have been riddled with injuries, but even riddled with injuries, they are 6th on the La Liga table and are coming into this matchup off a massive 4-1 win against Espanyol. Momentum will be on their side, and I think that little bit of extra quality that Girona possesses will be enough to get in that money line, but this could be 1-0, which is why I'm taking the money line.
Very interesting here. Obviously, Girona were 4 goals up after 27 minutes in their game against Espanyol, so they were inevitably going to win that game, but they're struggling in the Champions League, 29th in the table, as you pointed out there. Only the 1 victory, 3 points to their name, 4 goals scored, 8 goals against. Sturm Graz, They just lost their boss. Their boss just went to the Bundesliga. He's now the main man at Hoffenheim. So Sturm Graz have got a mountain to climb, especially when you lose your boss. He actually got a big victory against Leipzig in his first game as Hoffenheim boss. That game was crazy. It finished 4-3, and Leipzig obviously shot themselves in the foot again, which was disappointing, but Hoffenheim rebounding with their new boss. How will Sturm Graz react? Well, there you have it for the Champions League buckets. We did that in probably about 10 minutes' time. That is quite incredible. 6 bets in 10 minutes is remarkable. And most people out there, when you're watching soccer betting content, you would think that this show is done. Fucking think again. We go for more. Let's go to Thursday buckets, because we do have obviously what's happening in the Europa League, which is quite entertaining. Let's have a quick look at the top half of the table, at least the teams who are qualifying through. You've got Lazio top of the table, who are sitting on 12 points. You've got Ajax, who are second, Galatasaray third, Frankfurt doing so well in fourth place, Tottenham, who are favourites to potentially win the whole competition, currently sitting in seventh. So for you buckets, I'm looking for 2 best bets, and it's not going to be easy because obviously you have the conference as well, and there's so many games in Europa League, and I'm intrigued to see where you're going with your first one.
The first one is going to be another one of those tricky Red Star Beograd type of plays, because I'm looking at Slavia Prague versus Fenerbahce. And the reason I'm looking at this one is because Slavia Prague is just like Red Star Belgrade. They might not be the best team in the world. They might not be the heavy favorites, but when they play at home, it just doesn't really matter, especially when you've got teams like Fenerbahce under Jose Mourinho, who are a little bit checked out in this competition. They have not looked nearly as good this season as we've seen them in past years, which makes me think that Slavia Prague looks at this matchup as a potential 3 points. They're going to go for goals. They've got a great offense, even though it hasn't shined that much yet in Champions League. This is a team that is capable of doing some serious damage, Ian. I love both teams to score here again at minus 120.
Yeah, Fenerbahce obviously under Jose Mourinho. I love the way you say Jose Mourinho. At the same time, their name pronunciations are just fucking awesome in the show. They're what make it. They had a big victory, obviously, at the weekend as well. So, yeah, expect goals in that game. Obviously, with that competition, it's going to be pretty entertaining. Where are you going with your second best bet?
My second best bet is called the "Sorry, Jeff, I lied to you" best bet. I texted him a bet for that I was going to do, and then my mind completely turned to something else, and I'm switching it up on the fly here. I am looking at Manchester United versus Bodo Glimt, because I'm looking at a Man United side that is looking like they've got a bit more life in them. I know they had that kind of interim filler coach that did a tremendous job. Now they're bringing over Sporting's manager, who has done a tremendous job across Europe so far. And I'm looking at Man United to finally just say, we're just going to start winning again. We're going to start dominating. We're just better than these teams that we're going against. And there's no more sloppy little 1-0 wins against these teams that there's 3, 4, 5 goal favorites against. I'm looking at this Man United Bodo Glimt team or matchup. I'm taking over 1.5 goals, Ian, in the first half, currently priced at plus 115, because Bodo Glimt has been atrocious. Bodo Glimt has been struggling so far, and they just played a really tough game over the weekend. And they've got 1 game left that determines whether or not they win the Norway Elite Serien title, which means Bodo Glimt is going to be all kinds of distracted. And frankly, they might not even really want to focus too much on this Europa League game, knowing that domestically they've got this big battle going on with SK Brann. I'm taking over 1.5 here, and I think both come from Man United. If you want to take Man United over 1.5 first half, almost plus 200 right now.
Love that bet, tailing that bet. Manchester United, here we fucking go. Back into the top 4 of the Champions League, back into the top 4 of the Premier League. It's always possible with a new manager bounce. We're wishing our producer, Jeff, obviously all the best on his travels. He's traveling over to the Netherlands to enjoy a well-deserved break. We hope you really enjoy yourself over there. But producer Jeff is also taking on a game while he is there. He's going to watch PSV Eindhoven against Shakhtar Donetsk. Buckets, your prediction for that game?
My prediction is Jeff over or under 6.5 beers. I am going to be taking the over, but I'm also going to be taking a PSV smackdown. I would look at first half goals in that one, Jeff. I would look at a Ricardo Pepe anytime goal scorer if we don't see De Jong starting. I would look at a lot of fun and good goals in that game.
Yeah, Pepe, I think, is holding a record right now. He's only started 4 games for PSV, but I think he scored something like 12 goals, which is absolutely ridiculous. Producer Jeff, obviously, let's get your best bet for the game. You will be attending. We're really excited for you. So best bet coming in right about now. So there you have it. Producer Jeff on his way, on his travels. We thank you for everything you've done. Buckets in under 20 minutes. Who'd have thought that we'd give out 8 bets?
I have flashbacks thinking about our old shows that lasted an hour and a half, and then we'd forget to record, so it would take another hour and a half. Under 20 minutes is phenomenal, though.
Great job, buddy. Listen, everybody out there, make sure you bet responsibly. Make sure you have a lot of fun during the Champions League. This is what we live for. The Champions League is brilliant. As you can see after the international break, it's difficult to predict the results. So please bet responsibly. Play smart. Play with money you can afford to lose, but also play with intelligence. Listen to my man, John Buckets IPJ. Jeff, enjoy your travels. Everybody out there, make sure you absolutely fucking have it!
Stoppage time.